Guys, it's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be doing the match preview for Barcelona versus Real Mallorca in La Liga. We are playing on a bloody Friday. Absolutely unbelievable. We are back though in league action. We're again still salvaging a little bit in a title race, but of course the main talking point behind this match is that it's the match before the second leg quarterfinals against Napoli at the Montjuic as well. This is where you want to build the confidence and momentum heading into that very big game next week. We need the points as well, and Mallorca are not going to make it easy by any means necessary. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. And also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Kickoff time for this match will be taking place at 9 p.m. local time, so your regular kickoff time in La Liga, but not your regular day for La Liga action. And this match will be taking place at the Lluís Companys Stadium in Montjuic, which of course is the home for Barcelona this season, and a little bit of a few months into next season as well. And the referee for this match has also been confirmed. On the pitch, it will be Javier Iglesias Villanueva, and on the VAR, it will be Pizarro Gomez. Let's start off by taking a look at the league table, where Barcelona are currently sat in third place in La Liga on 58 points after playing 27 matches. We have 17 wins, 7 draws, and 3 losses. You look at our last 5 games in the league, still the best record in the top 4, 3 wins and 2 draws, undefeated, with Real Madrid having 3 draws and 2 wins. We're currently 3 points ahead of Atletico Madrid, just 1 point behind Girona in second place, but of course 8 points behind Real Madrid at the top of the league table. Question is, are we still in the title race? I think it comes down to the distance of points when the Clásico hits next month. I think that if we're in 5 to 6 points, maybe even less, then we're in a title race. But if it's still 8 points, if the gap is still like this come the Clásico, I don't think we're in a title race whatsoever. Of course, we were 9 points ahead of Real Madrid last season. They were in a title race come the Clásico. Then we beat them, and we jumped, of course, to 12 points. And then, of course, if they beat us, it would have been to 6. So they would have been kind of still in it. So it's all if, buts, and maybes. Again, the main priority is go as far as you can in the Champions League. And, of course, second place in La Liga, which I think 1,000% we will be getting, but again, it's not really comfortable or confirmed. 1 point off Girona, 3 points ahead of Atletico Madrid. Girona dropping points like no tomorrow. Look at that. Look at their last 5 games, 3 losses in their last 4 games in La Liga. It is absolutely the downfall of Girona over the past, I would say, month has been staggering. But we're on pace to, reach the objective, which is to finish second place, qualify for the Spanish Super Cup. If we can salvage a title race, we'll wait and see. Real Madrid are not that good, if I'm being honest, this season. They have gotten away with, Barcelona being worse than them being good this season. We look at the top teams and who they'll be facing this weekend. Atletico Madrid will be traveling to Cadiz. Girona will be facing Osasuna, and Real Madrid will be facing Celta Vigo at home as well. So I'm expecting 3 points across the board from every single team here. I think if Girona were playing away at Osasuna, that definitely would have been a difficult one. With them being at home, though, I expect them to get 3 points. Cadiz aren't that great. I expect Atletico Madrid to win that game. They also have a big UCL game next week against Inter, which, by the way, hopefully Inter win. That way we can qualify for the Club World Cup in 2025. And Madrid hosting Celta Vigo at the Bernabeu. That will be a countable 3 points for them. So 3 points across the board, most likely for the top sides this weekend. So Barcelona have to do the same as well in order to keep up pace with the other teams and, of course, reach our objective, which at bare minimum is second place in La Liga. Now, if you take a look at our opponents in the Real Mallorca and where they're currently standing in the league table, they're currently sat in 15th place in La Liga on 27 points. After playing 27 matches, they do have 5 wins, 12 draws, and 10 losses. You look at their last 5 games in the league, 2 losses, 2 wins, and 1 draw. Now, despite their position in the league, Mallorca have not been too bad this season. Let's now take a look at our opponents in Real Mallorca. Like I just mentioned, so far this season, on paper, they haven't been great, but I think that kind of overshadows their performances and what they've done this season as well. I think they've lost games very narrowly. They've competed well with teams and draw or loss. Of course, in the Copa del Rey, they have reached the final. They knocked out Real Sociedad and Girona in the process. I think overall this season they have been playing well. The league table, though, just not really, balancing out what we've seen from them on the pitch. Now, the last time we did face them was very early on in the season. It was a 2-2 draw away from home. Of course, we were 2-0 down, I believe, or 2-1 down at halftime. They scored very, very early. Raphinha with a long shot made a 1-1. They then scored 2-1 just before halftime. I think it was a Ter Stegen mistake. Then Fermin Lopez off the bench. The Fermin Lopez hype at this point was really, really high. He came off the bench, scored. We got the draw in the end. We really couldn't fight though for the 3 points. You can see the lineup, of course, on the right hand side. This is still a point when Romeu was starting in the pivots. You can tell how earlier on in the season this was. Of course, no Balde tomorrow and no Gavi either, and even no Ferran Torres. We are missing a few personnel from that lineup, but again, it should have been a win. We had a lot of chances. We just could not finish our dinner like the story was from basically September until probably even now. Now you take a look at Real Mallorca's last 6 matches in all competition. In their last match, they beat Girona 1-0 in the league. Of course, they went to penalties against Sociedad and they won at the Anoeta 5-4 on penalties, finishing a 1-1 draw. They drew 1-1 with Alaves. They lost to Sociedad in the league 2-1 at home. They beat Rayo Vallecano 2-1 at home, and they drew, of course, 0-0 in the first leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final against Sociedad. So let's take a look now at the last 3 games in all competition. Firstly is the 1-1 draw against Alaves away from home. I do believe they scored very late on to get the draw. Again, it wasn't really a convincing performance, but still a performance where you can see there's something there. If you look at the player ratings, they're all, in the high 7s, they're in the greens. So it doesn't mean they performed badly, so to speak. It's just that, again, they are lacking that kind of cutting edge in the final third. Of course, Alaves this season have been alright as well. So it's a very, I would say, in terms of La Liga form and, stylistic, a very even matchup. They are playing away from home, getting a draw, not too bad of a result in the end. Next up, of course, is their 1-1 draw with Sociedad on paper, but of course winning on penalties and qualifying for the Copa del Rey final. So unbelievable achievement for them. I know we really expected this at the beginning of the season. This performance was pretty much sit back and soak up all the pressure. You're at the end of what Sociedad are the clear favorites. You want, of course, this could be a Basque derby, Copa del Rey final as well. So it's all the hype is there. You're very, very much the underdog. Sit back, soak it all up. I believe they were the first ones to score in this game on the break, and then Oyarzabal was equalized a few minutes afterwards. They held on, strong defensive performance. Their goalkeeper had a really good game. They went to penalties, and of course, as we know, penalties, it's a 50-50, and they ended up shocking and winning it. I think it was actually Oyarzabal that missed the first penalty as well. When you're a captain and your first penalty taker misses the first penalty, very, very unlikely you go on and win the penalty shootout. But credit to them, it was an unbelievable, defensive performance from them. They took the luck of the penalties, and they're in their first cup final, and I can't even remember how long. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the first cup final in their club's history. Now, their last match in all competition was a 1-0 win against Girona last weekend in La Liga. So they just had Girona's number this season. Not only did they knock them out of the Copa del Rey, they even beat them in the league. Girona were just absolutely so piss poor in this game. I think Mallorca were a bit better than their usual selves. They were very clinical, especially on the counter-attack. They were holding the transition well. Defensive line was very strong from them, and Girona just couldn't, back down from it. I think, again, Mallorca kind of have the system where they know how to beat Girona, and since they've done it mentally twice, it was easier for them in this game, and vice versa, of course, for Girona. They've been beaten twice by them. It's, of course, going to have a little bit of effect on them. But again, an unbelievable win for Mallorca, and big question marks around Girona, but 3 big points for Mallorca. So overall, final thoughts on Real Mallorca. I think they've definitely been one of the surprise packages this season despite their league position. They're still kind of in a relegation scrap a little bit. They're not fully out of that, but again, they should be making it out for sure. Of course, their manager is Javier Aguirre, who's been with them for quite some time now. In terms of results against Barcelona, he's gotten a few, I think only 1 win. I think when he coached another side, but he's gotten a few draws against Barcelona as well. Look, he's a good manager. He has the experience, and of course, so far this season, he's done Mallorca, exceeding their expectations for sure. In terms of players to look out for, there is quite a few. I had to firstly highlight the striker Muriqi, who is very much a striker that, Barcelona struggle against. That tall man, aerial threat, clinical finisher in the box with no pace. Barcelona do struggle against those type of strikers. Of course, Kyle Larin, his strike partnership up front, kind of does the same thing alongside him as well. Of course, Sergi Dar there in the midfield, who was linked with Barcelona last summer. He's someone to look out for as well. It's a very, very strong team, very balanced with experience and youngsters as well. It's a team that definitely has the experience to go out there and cause problems for Barcelona. With us being at the Montjuic, though, I would just say the only way to beat them is just to control the possession and win that midfield battle. Take your time with it, and of course, when those chances come in the final third, finish it. I have no doubt Mallorca will sit back a little bit and hit you on the break. They're not too quick on the break, but I will say they are very, very clinical. Now, with this being a home game, of course, the squad list will not be released until tomorrow morning, but we do have some updates in regards to the game in terms of players returning. Now, Marcos Alonso and Ferran Torres are the two latest players that can make a return to Barcelona. Marcos Alonso is training with the first team. Ferran Torres is only doing part of the training session. According to reports, neither player will be in the squad list tomorrow for Mallorca, but both most likely will be in the squad list next week for the match against Napoli. So don't expect Alonso or Ferran Torres to be on the bench and making an appearance in this game, but against Napoli, all options, of course, are on the table. Now, as the season winds down, of course, we do have to keep an eye out for yellow card suspensions. Of course, Xavi and Araujo are suspended for this game after getting a yellow card against Athletic Club. And in this match, of course, we have 3 players who are 1 yellow card away from suspension. And I have to highlight our next league game is against Atletico Madrid at the Wanda Metropolitano. If Romeu, Robert Lewandowski, or João Cancelo pick up a yellow card in this match, they will be suspended for that trip to the Spanish capital. Time now to get into the press conference reaction of Xavi Hernandez. His press conference this morning, of course, he was asked a lot of questions in the media about the current run of form, UCL next week, new manager, injury updates as well. So let's get and see what Xavi had to say this morning in the presser. First, he came out congratulating Javier Aguirre and his team as well, saying that Aguirre has a lot of results for his team. Mallorca is a rocking team, physically strong and good on the counter-attack, and of course congratulated them as well on reaching the Copa del Rey final. Then as on Pedri's injury is a factor that we cannot control. I am very positive. I always tell him that this is the last one. Fortunately, it is not as serious as we thought. Pedri is not the first player to suffer many injuries at the beginning of his career. Perhaps he has a lot of pressure on him. He must be positive and believe it is the last injury and that he will recover well. We've prepared for the match very well. We've analyzed Mallorca, but now we have to do the talking on the field, and it's more difficult. We need to be inspired like we did against Getafe. Then as on Luis Enrique potentially taking the job next season, saying that I will not talk about coaches for next season. We are looking for our current season. Then, of course, as on Joan Laporta, of course, today marks 3 years since Joan Laporta came in as the president. I still remember the live stream I did and how gassed I was when he was elected. And Xavi said for me that Joan Laporta is the best president in the history of the club, and I do agree on that. On the Bilbao game, Xavi said there is a huge difference between talking and what is happening on the field. I think we prepared for the match very well, and I think that we have many opportunities to attack well and defend. Tomorrow we will definitely make some changes from the previous match. We have to think about the players, not only for fitness wise, but also keeping one eye on the Champions League next week. Victor Roque is in competition with Lewandowski and the other attackers. He's helped us before and he will help us now as well. Of course, we can make it in La Liga. Until there's possibilities it's not there anymore, we will continue to fight. In Bilbao, we lost a very good chance, but we will continue to try. I mean, imagine we took that chance. Imagine if you beat Granada and Villarreal at home. We'd be 1 point off, if not top of the table at this point. Then he's asked on Ter Stegen, who I think is coming up to 400 games for Barcelona, if I'm not mistaken. Xavi said that after Victor Valdez, Ter Stegen is the best goalkeeper in this club's history. Mark is noble, a leader, and an inspiration. He has a lot of qualities. He's also a role model on and off the field. I think Ter Stegen is definitely in the top 3. Whether he's touching top 2 is where the question comes in. Then he says Xavi, being a Barcelona coach is the most maximum pressure that you can feel as a human, which is a very, very big statement. I think in regards to sports, yes. In regards to life, I can think of quite a few different scenarios where maybe it would be more pressure than the Barcelona coaching role, but I think in the world of sports, definitely not wrong. Then as on, options to, cover the injuries of Frankie de Jong and Pedri, saying that we can try maybe Joao Felix, Ferran Torres, Raphinha, and Roberto in the midfield, but they're not really true midfielders. I don't know why he's included Roberto in that category. This may be a mistranslation, but hopefully he's not saying that Roberto is a midfielder, because if he isn't, then why the bloody hell is he here? I believe this model of playing with the attack, being offensive, having the ball, and being the dictating side. You can change the system, but never the model of play. You have to have the whole team like we planned it. Now there are not many options in the middle. We practically have Fermin Lopez and Gundogan as real midfielders. From there, we have to renovate the position as we did with Christensen, and I think it's going to do well for the team. Of course, Romeu is a pivot. He's talking about midfielders, the ones in front of the pivot. And finally, Xavi concluded off asking about Fermin Lopez, and that he's looking perfect. He wasn't happy with his performance at SMMS, and that's a good thing. We trust him a lot. Fermin Lopez did drop an absolute stinker. Definitely top 5 worst performances this season from a Barcelona player. And that concluded Xavi's press conference reaction ahead of the match against Real Mallorca tomorrow. Let's now get into the lineup prediction. We're going to start with the manager, of course, Xavi Hernandez, who, keep in mind, will be suspended for this game, so it will be his brother, Oscar Hernandez, on the touchline for this game, but Xavi will select everything and make the changes in game and tactical switches, all that stuff. They're going to have the AirPods or headphones in talking to each other, but he's not going to be on the touchline, so to speak. It will be a bit difficult in that sense, but what will Xavi go with? Of course, we are expecting a few rotations. I think that Xavi will go with this lineup on the screen right now. I think he'll go with Marc-Andre ter Stegen in goal, a back four of Hector Fort, Cubarsí, Inigo Martinez, and João Cancelo, midfield three of Romeu, Gundogan, and Fermin Lopez, and a front three of Raphinha, Lewandowski, and João Felix. First off, in that back five, I think it's pretty much set in stone. Of course, Araujo is suspended, and you want to rest Jules Koundé. According to reports, Xavi is looking to rest Koundé for this game. This is the best back five, and probably the only back five that you can make up in regards to the first team dynamics. Midfield three, of course, you could bring in Christensen in defense as well. I think in the midfield, he will drop Christensen and go with a more natural midfield. I think we can definitely see minutes from Romeu. I think Gundogan will start on the right with Fermin Lopez on the left. I would not be surprised if we had Christensen in for Romeu, just a straight swap there. I just have a feeling that he might start with Romeu. In the front three, Raphinha, Lewandowski, and João Felix. According to reports, Lamine Yamal might have a bit of a knock, so we just want to rest him and keep him safe as much as possible. I think João Felix deserves to start this game as well. He started against Getafe, got a goal. Against the Athletic Club, didn't, so I think he will start this game. Whether Lewandowski will start or not remains to be seen. And of course, Raphinha on the right-hand side. Now, there are reports, of course, suggesting that Raphinha could be playing in the midfield due to the injuries in the next few matches. Xavi has been testing him in the interior position, according to Tony Juan Marti from Sports. So keep your eyes out for that. That could definitely be an option for the team, that we could see Raphinha in the midfield and maybe on the right, Lamine Yamal, Victor Roque, whatever the case may be. So that could be an option as well. But overall, from these 11, I think definitely 9 of them will start, maybe barring 1 or 2 changes. But this is lineup that Xavi Hernandez will select for this match. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know what you think Xavi will go with. Now I'm going to show you guys my lineup, what I would do if I was the Barcelona coach, and I have made a few changes from Xavi's lineup selection. I have gone with this lineup on the screen right now. I've gone with ter Stegen in goal, a back four of Hector Fort, Cubarsí, Inigo Martinez, and João Cancelo, midfield three of Romeu, Roberto, and Fermin Lopez, and a front three of Raphinha, Victor Roque, and João Felix. I have basically just went, not full rotation, but rested every key player that needs to be rested. I think the only player in this game that's starting that's an absolutely pivotal player for Barcelona is maybe ter Stegen, but he's in net, so he'll be fine. And of course, João Cancelo. I kept the same back five, but in the midfield, I have brought in Roberto for Gundogan. Injury to Gundogan, and this season is off. I would call off the season. White flag, forfeit. Are you sure? Yes, if we get an injury to Gundogan. So I am resting him, not risking him whatsoever, beyond belief. Lewandowski has been playing ridiculously, and I would say borderline criminal amount of minutes recently, so I'd rest him and bring in Victor Roque. I mean, this is why you have a squad, so you can make the rotation necessary. That way the players don't burn out and pick up niggling injuries. I think Lewandowski deserves a rest. I think this is a very good game for Victor Roque to play in, but if Victor Roque is starting though, I would definitely play Raphinha in somewhat of an advanced position. Of course, the Jogo Bonito connection, hopefully Brazilian connection, can spark something, and of course I stuck with João Felix on the left as well, resting Lamine Yamal. And that's the line that I would select for this match. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know if you'd rather pick my lineup or Xavi's lineup. Time now for my score prediction. What do I believe the result will be in this match? Now, not to toot my own horn, I have been pretty accurate over the past months in regards to Barcelona results. Score lines exactly, not necessarily, but in terms of the actual result on the pitch, I have been pretty spot on. And for some weird reason, I think we're going to drop points. I can see Barcelona drawing this game 1-1 or 2-2, very similar to the first game this season. I don't know, man. It just depends really on Xavi's rotation, how strong Mallorca go, how fresh Mallorca are after, the backup, reaching the Copa del Rey final. I think the pressure as well, one eye on the Napoli game next week as well. All the eyes are going to be on that game in Montjuic on a Friday evening as well. Just everything doesn't really line up for this game. I hope I am wrong. I don't see Mallorca winning this game. I think it's either going to be a draw or a Barcelona win. But I don't know, man. I just feel like there's something missing in this team where either it's not giving me the confidence or they're not really proving me anything on the pitch. I think that in order for Barcelona to win this game, you cannot miss chances, and you have to be as clinical as you can be. If we're missing chances left, right, and center, especially in that opening 15-20 minute period, I think we're cooked. If we concede in that first 5-minute window like we usually have for other teams, I think we're cooked as well. There's so many avenues for Barcelona to mess up this game. That's why I think I go with a draw as my official prediction, but of course I'm hoping and praying that Barcelona can indeed get a result. My official prediction for this match is a 1-1 draw, but of course in the comments down below, let me know what you think the scoreline will be. So that was a match preview for Barcelona versus Real Mallorca in La Liga. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. But the main thing I want to firstly, of course, is your score prediction, and secondly, on those lineups. Firstly, would you rather pick my lineup or Xavi's lineup? What do you think Xavi will go with? What would you go with? You're the manager. Leave me all your thoughts down below, and of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below as well if you haven't already. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the live watch along. Set the reminder on the screen and come and join me, watch the game with me. Follow share for the match, buy my match reviews. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Huge game ahead. Not more so for points, if you're being honest, but more so for confidence and momentum ahead of the game on Tuesday. Take care, and Forza Barca.